Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Hans, and tonight I'm going to talk to you about something which is present in your diet and which is causing lots of inflammation in your body, and that thing is about lectin. And please don't confuse between lectin and lecithin. Lectin is spelled Lectin, and lectin is a protein which is actually causing inflammation in your body. And this is an article which I have read, and it was written by Dr. Anne Zoder, and I found it like a really interesting article. And so I thought that it would be good that I share this information with you so that you're aware about the type of inflammation that the everyday food you eat can bring to your body and the kind of havoc it can cause to you. And so, have you ever wondered why people are really stressed, tired, anxious, depressed, disconnected? They are in pain and they get irritated and get angry easily, and they are not able to control their emotional turmoil. And always is because, to a large extent, it's because they don't have the kind of energy to counteract that kind of emotion, to control their emotion. They are always like foggy, irritated, and their thinking is not clear. And it's mainly because of inflammation that is happening in their body. And also because our lifestyle nowadays is so busy and we live in a highly demanding environment, we just rush to pharmaceutical medications to ease our symptoms. We don't even have a moment to question ourselves where these symptoms are coming from, and so that we can go to the root cause of these symptoms instead of just handling the pain, which is not going to do anything good in the long run. I don't really know about like everyone's individual condition, but I can definitely talk from my experience with inflammation and how my diet, how when I have changed my diet and how my health has evolved over time, and I can definitely talk from that perspective. And from my experience, I can see that the major causes of the allergies that I was having and the frequent illness, they are mainly because of inflammation that was building up in my body over time, and I never realized that all the food that I was eating before, they were the, the root cause of building up inflammation in my body. And the common causes of inflammation in our diet, they are mainly sugar, white flour, chemicals and additives in our food, high fructose corn syrup, and trans fats, and many more. But there is also that protein which we are consuming in our diet, but we don't really know that it is a protein, and it is hidden in the carbs and grains and cereals. We don't really know that, and until we find out about it. And this protein is called lectins. And lectins, they are found in high quantities in grains, in beans, in certain fruits and vegetables. And these lectins, they are made by plants and they are served as a defense mechanism to the plants. Because when the plants grow, there are predators around that will try to feed on the plant. And the plant has a defense mechanism to defend itself from being eaten by those predators. They produce those lectins to prevent those animals from eating them. And when animals eat those plants, the lectin react in a negative way, and the animal will feel bad when they eat those plants, and they will not go back again close to those plants. And the way lectin really affect your health, they have different ways, and some of the most uh, frequent way uh, how lectin is affecting you. For example, they bind to carbohydrates in our body. Like carbohydrates are especially sugars, and sugars especially the polysaccharides that are present in our body. And lectins are very large proteins, and they are very sticky. So they will go and bind to those polysaccharides that are in our body, that is already present there, and they will cause a kind of disruption in the message that are transmitted from cell to cell in our body. And they do that disruption by creating a toxic or inflammatory response in the body. So what happens is that when lectins go and bind to those polysaccharides, they will create an inflammatory response. And instead of transmitting, for example, I'm just taking an example so that you can understand it more in a more simpler way. So that instead of this cell transmitting information ABC to this cell, so that this cell can do its functions properly, the cell does not transmit ABC, they transmit CDE. So CDE, which is not a good information, so this cell does not do the function properly, and it causes negative effects to our body. And I will give you an example of a sugar molecule that is present in our body, and it is present in the gut, in the brain, in the joints, and this is called sialic acid. It's a carbohydrate, it's a sugar, and it is called sialic acid, and it is spelled SIALIC. And when those lectins they bind to those sialic acid, they cause inflammation. And when the sialic acid, which is present in the joints, and the lectin reacts to the sialic acid, it gives us achy joints, lots of pain in the joints, and we cannot even close our fist properly, and we have lots of problems to move around. And the other place where sialic acid is present is in the gut. And when it reacts, the lectin reacts with the sialic acid in the gut, it causes a leaky gut. So I will talk more about leaky gut later. And also when the sialic acid, which is present in the brain, and the lectin react to that sialic acid, it gives fogginess. So when you wake up in the morning, or even during the whole day, you can't think clearly. You are blurred. You get confused when you think, and you don't get your things like in a clear way. So you have that brain fogginess, and you tend to forget things very easily, and it causes inflammation. And in the long run, if you don't take care about it, you can even get Alzheimer's due to that when you grow older. And all these, they will result in constant fatigue. So you will always be like zapped out of your energy. You won't feel energized, you won't feel good, because you are always lacking energy. You don't have the fuel. Your muscles are not getting the fuels to burn. They are not getting the fuel to burn to produce energy. And the fuel is sugar, but the sugar is not reaching the muscles to be burned to produce energy. And the other effect of lectin is that it stimulates weight gain. And there is a specific type of lectin which is called wheat germ agglutinin, and the agglutinin, I'm sorry, wheat germ agglutinin, and the acronym for wheat germ agglutinin is WGA. So WGA is a specific type of lectins that mimics the hormone insulin. And insulin, as everybody knows, that it is responsible for carrying sugar molecule into our muscles. And those sugar molecules, they are burnt, they are used as fuel in the muscles to produce energy. And the way I will make a simple drawing for you so that you can understand that properly. So we'll just draw like a muscle cell. So this is a muscle cell, and then on every muscle cell, every cell in our body, there are receptor site. So the receptor site is like a doorway for the insulin to get in contact with the cell, and from there they enter the muscle cell and liberate the sugar there, so that the sugar is used as fuel. So let's show you this. So this is your muscle, and then on top of the muscle cell, so this is a cell of your muscle, not just a whole muscle, just it's a cell of your muscle, and this is a receptor site, like the door on the muscle cell, and this is the lectin called WGA, the wheat germ agglutinin. So this has gone and it has binded to the receptor site of this muscle cell. And when this is already present here, so this one is actually insulin, and the insulin has a sugar molecule which is represented as an asterisk here. So the insulin has a kind of mouth, like the mouth has engulfed the sugar, and it is trying to go this way to enter the muscle. But because the muscle already has an insulin-like molecule that has already bound at the receptor site, so this one cannot go through it because there is an obstruction at the door here. So this, it cannot pass through to enter the cell. So what happens with time, when you eat, so there will be lots of sugar molecule, and when there is lots of sugar molecules present in the blood cells, there will be lots of insulin that will be secreted. So each insulin will take some sugar molecules, and it is represented like that. So each insulin has a sugar molecules, but they are not able to do their function because there is an obstruction here. What will happen with time, the body will sense panic, and it will say, oh, there's too much of sugar floating in the bloodstream, so we need this to be tackled. So they will open up the fat cell. So the fat cell is illustrated here as a big garbage bag. So there will be lots of fat cells that will be released around, and these fat cells, they will pick up those insulin that has the sugar molecules inside, and this fat cell will go and shut themselves around the muscles. So with time, this is a condition that will lead to diabetes type 2. So this is how lectin, a protein, can cause diabetes type 2 in the human body. So just remember that WGA, the wheat germ agglutinin, which is the specific type of lectin that binds to the receptor site of the muscles, and it prevents insulin from taking sugar molecules into the muscle cells. So what will happen with time is that the muscle cells will be starved. They will not have any fuel, so they will start shrinking, and fat will keep on accumulating around them. And when fat will keep on accumulating around them, that's when you put on weight, and then you develop diabetes type 2. And the other way now that the lectin is affecting our health is by stimulating leaky gut. And leaky gut, I have read a lot of articles by Dr. Gundry, and I don't know how many times I should say thank you to Dr. Gundry for that, because that has helped me understand why I was getting all kind of allergies, and sometimes I was having like bad skin, not really like good type of skin, like dull skin. It was all because of the leaky gut, and which I didn't know exactly why I was having that. But after reading the articles by Dr. Gundry, I have been able to figure out the root cause of my situation, and I have taken all the measures that I need to do so that, and my health has evolved positively over the years with that. And I once again thank you, Dr. Gundry, for that. And so the way uh, lectin is affecting the gut is that the lectin, it will bind to the intestinal wall, and it creates holes in the intestinal lining. So when the intestinal lining is damaged and it creates like holes, the food that you eat, it contains lots of toxins in that, because most food that we eat are sprayed with pesticides, and they have fertilizers, and all these, they are still present when we are eating them and we are digesting them. And when there are holes in the intestine, these toxic substances, they they cross the barrier, they go to the blood, and then when it reaches the blood system, yeah, it can cause like a very bad health conditions. And normally the a few symptoms that I will provide you about the leaky gut syndrome are that you have excessive gas, and you have diarrhea, like irritable bowel syndrome, and then you have bloating, you have chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, and skin disorders like rashes, rosacea, and you lose that glow on your skin. There's no more glow. Your skin looks dull. That's what I was having. Like my skin was looking dull, and I was having like lots of bloating and diarrhea. Like after I would eat, and I would feel like really uncomfortable. The reason why when the intestinal lining is inflamed because of the presence of lectin, and it causes diarrhea after you eat, and like bloating and then diarrhea and then gas, is because when food gets in contact with the intestinal lining, which is already inflamed, the body, to protect itself, it has to secrete lots of mucus. So when it secretes lots of mucus, that's how like lots of gas are produced. It's not because of the fermentation of the food. It is important for the food to ferment and produce gas, and then you pass out the gas. That is absolutely normal. But when the lining are inflamed, and the body has to secrete lots of mucus to counteract that inflammation, that is a bad condition. So then I have a friend who is like 10 years younger than me, and every time we would go and have dinner together, he would keep on like farting, like someone is starting a motorcycle in the morning. And since he's a vegan, so I asked him, so how he cooks his grains and pulses and beans. So he would say he just soak them overnight, and then he will cook them the next day, like he cook them in pressure cooker. And I would suggest that if you are cooking beans, lentils, like any kind of beans, uh, I do soak them for 3 to 4 days before I pressure cook them. And every day I have to wash it and put new water, and you will see that each day there will be a whitish, slimy, gassy substance that will come out. That is the lectin that is being broken down, and it really smells bad. So you have to wash the beans and then put new water and let it soak again, and wait until you see the beans are sprouting. And the moment the beans are sprouting, that is the best time to cook the beans, because they are at the optimal nutrient level at that time, so you can benefit from maximum nutrient when you cook it, when they are sprouting. And the foods that are really high in lectins, they are wheat, corn, rice, white potatoes, oats, legumes like peanuts and cashew nuts, soy, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, chia seeds, cucumbers, zucchini, pumpkins, squash. Any kind of squash has lots of lectin. Tomatoes, eggplant, peppers, goji berries, red kidney beans. And the one that has the most lectin is red kidney beans. Red kidney beans, for that especially, I soak it for 5 to 6 days. Yeah, I have noticed that when I soak it 5 to 6 days, then I cook it, then the digestion is really smooth, and I don't have any kind of bloating, and it's really good. And there are some ways that you can deactivate those lectins. For example, for all the beans that and the grains, you have to soak them, especially for red kidney beans, 5 to 6 days you have to soak them. And the other pulses and beans, you can soak them like 3 to 4 days. And for mm, vegetables like eggplant, bell pepper, you can ferment them in salt water for 6 to 8 weeks, and then you can eat them, because fermentation, what happens is that the good bacteria during fermentation will break down those lectins, so the vegetables will be lectin free and will be easy on your digestive tract. And if you are eating tomatoes, just make sure that you remove the skin. And to peel a tomato is very easy. Just put it in boiling water for 2 or 3 seconds, and then remove it. You will see the skin is cracked, and once the skin is cracked, you can just peel it with your fingertips, and then you put it back in the fridge, and it will still be like crunchy. And make sure that you remove the seeds of the tomatoes, because the seeds contain those pesky lectins that will damage your intestinal lining. And pumpkins and all the squash and zucchinis, just make sure that the skins are removed properly, and the seeds are removed before you cook them. And cucumbers also, I know there are some cucumbers that you have to peel them before you eat, and the seeds have to be removed. But there is also the English cucumber that I know even myself I used to eat the English cucumber with the skin and the seeds. But after reading the articles about lectins, how it causes inflammation, so now I peel I remove the peel of the English cucumber, and also I remove the seeds, and I eat what is inside. So these are the tips for deactivating lectins. So soaking and then pressure cooking, peel and deseed, fermenting. And if you like to eat grains, or like if you like to eat flour, I would say that it's better to go with white flour, because if you eat whole wheat, this is bad, because the hull in the whole wheat, this is where most of the lectins are present. And I will give you an example of myself. Like when I started to uh, eat like properly, I started to eat whole wheat. I changed, so I was eating whole grain bread, etc. And the moment I started eating that, after about a week or two, I started feeling a kind of irritation in my stomach, and my lining, and I was having acid reflux most of the time when I was eating that. And I didn't know anything. And I was thinking that maybe it's just I was building up acidity, and I didn't know for what reason I was building up that. But then when I learned about lectins, so I knew what caused me to get to that kind of situation. So I have stopped. The moment I stopped eating any kind of whole grain or wheat, etc., I just eat. If I want to eat bread, I just eat white toast, and it's much better for me. I don't have that kind of acidity or irritation when I eat white toast. And or if I eat white rice also, it's the same thing. I don't have any kind of acidity or irritation of the stomach. So these are a few tips that you can incorporate in your daily lifestyle or your daily eating habits, and try to improve your health. And on this, I would say thank you very much for watching the video, and have a good one. Goodbye.